Hey everyone, Lee here. Hope you're okay. You've probably just seen my video on the e-petition story. I said it was a story that has slipped under the radar and has not been scrutinised properly. These e-petitions. There's another story that has actually slipped under the radar that I think is very interesting. It's quite controversial, and I understand there will be a lot of probably negative comments, I would say, but I just want to comment on this story. It is the fact that the Lib Dems are to debate drugs inquiry at party conference. Basically, they're going to call for the government to lead an inquiry into decriminalisation of certain drugs for personal use, and that more should be invested in education, rehabilitation and treatment rather than just chucking people in prison who do drugs. And I've got to say, that would be very, very brave of them to do that. I totally agree with them. It's been ages since I've said, I agree with the Lib Dems, but this is the first time that I've seen that one of the three main political parties has actually a sensible policy on drugs. Now, the only time I saw this was in the Green Party, where they called for it at the last election, their manifesto about decriminalisation of cannabis. Now, I can tell you why I agree with this, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, how can you agree with this? Drugs are bad, drugs are awful, you surely cannot. This will just encourage more people to take drugs. Well, the reason I agree with this is because it's been proven that cannabis is no more harmful than alcohol. And personally, having tried it myself, it is like having a drink. Having a puff of marijuana is like having a drink. Of course, there are certain types you can get that are really strong or not so strong, depending. Obviously, the one I tried literally just had cannabis leaves and tobacco in it. So actually, and then I've just admitted to doing drugs on the internet. I don't care. I tried it, so there you go. But my point is that you try any drug in excess, whether legal or not legal, it's going to have a harmful effect. I mean, there's been stories about Robbie Williams. He's addicted to tea, coffee, and Red Bull, caffeine. Now, everyone, that just has a cup of tea in the morning, doesn't think much of it. Well, you're addicted to caffeine. That's not a bad thing, because as long as you don't do it in excess, you'll be fine. And it's the same with alcohol. As long as you consume it, every now and again, and not all the time, like an alcoholic. And it's the same with things like weed. And this is why I think this is a sensible policy. Now, I don't think the government will lead an inquiry into this. The Lib Dems, they'll back a motion at their party conference, and they'll back a motion, and then they'll try and get the Conservatives to agree with it, that it should be a government-led inquiry. But the Conservatives are so narrow-minded, so like, no, drugs are bad, we got to do this, no, we can't, no, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, keep it as it is. They're not going to agree to it. So this won't have any, nothing will happen with this. It will get past that Lib Dem conference, and then the Conservatives will just completely reject it. As soon as Nick Clegg takes it to David Cameron, he'll just reject it straight away without consideration. But hopefully it'll mean they fight more, and then they'll hopefully more of a chance of them, splitting up as a coalition. But one can only hope. Like I said, I do agree with this, because it is a sensible route. Because all what we've tried so far is going like, the thing is, certain drugs, that can be very harmful, like caffeine and alcohol, are legal, yet cannabis is illegal. Yeah, it's the same effects as alcohol, if you just do it in moderation. And like I said, I agree with this because it's, if you actually educate people more on the effects of it, and we do, but if you actually treat people more and actually, if you can regulate it and actually crack down on the people that are literally putting loads of crap in cannabis, putting their own crap in it, the illegal drug dealers, and some are actually using normal cannabis leaves and not. If you really regulate it and clamp down on the illegal prices, and actually you can moderate the use of it, so you can buy it with tobacco, for instance, and actually it's more tax revenue for the government. And actually less people, I believe, are likely to do it then. Because, a lot of people do try it because they're experimenting, or it's an illegal drug. Like I said, a lot of people, I don't believe will try it. They'll go, oh, it won't have a stigma attached to it. And it's just this people's reactionary, reactionary thoughts to drugs. Yeah, tea, coffee, alcohol and drugs. And it would have the same effect if you had them in excess. That's my opinion of it. And I think it's really good that the Lib Dems are actually calling for this. I totally respect them. Actually, they're looking at different ways to deal with drug problems. Because I'm not saying drugs are good. I'm just saying, how can we deal with it properly? How can we, people do take, like I said, cannabis for personal use, just like someone would have a pint. It's not, and like I said, if you regulate it properly, if it's sold in off license only to 18-year-olds, etc., and over, then actually, and if you can actually make it expensive, and it's more tax revenue in for the government, and it will help boost the economy. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me, and I know a lot of people will, but I just believe we do need to have a real sensible policy of drugs, and I'm personally not suggesting legalising things like cocaine, heroin, LSD, things like that. They are literally all chemicals and all crap, where cannabis is a plant, it comes from a plant, alcohol comes from a plant, caffeine comes from tea and coffee, which are in plants, so they're all natural things. And if you regulate it properly, if you make sure the effect's not as bad, then actually the effect of the drug won't be as bad, and we can help people more in dealing with it. And we can educate people not to do it. Like we educate people not to drink too much alcohol. We educate people not to smoke too much, and we could realise that actually a lot of people do smoke weed, and actually a lot of people smoke weed like they would have alcohol, and actually they're perfectly normal people. Rather than just go, no, what you're doing is legal, it's wrong. Actually understand that they do it. Just say in moderation. And just say it's wrong, you shouldn't, it's bad for you, like any other drug would be, but have it in moderation. I think that's a sensible. If you read the news story, it's about Lib Dems, like I said, more emphasis on treatment rather than prosecution of drug users, and the current drugs laws are harmful and ineffective, and I agree with that. Now, my only worry is this, that one, the Tories will just reject it straight away, and so will Labour, so this won't get passed. And secondly, the Lib Dems have said it, a lot of people don't, think the Lib Dems have lost all their credibility, and so they're not going to take it seriously. So, but leading doctors have said it, celebrities have said it, a lot of people have said what is a sensible solution to it. Because, like I said, why aren't the current, by pushing it, making it more illegal, making it, by pushing that more, then, and actually it's not working. So we need to rethink about this. We need to have a sensible debate. If people are willing to debate with me on this, then I'm all for that. And I've probably rambled a bit, but this is my point, that I think we should look at decriminalising cannabis. I'm not talking about all the legal drugs, all the illegal drugs at the moment, but like cannabis. And this comes but then, like I said, there are a lot of emotive, reactionary views on drugs. There's not any sensible, rational, and logical, because a lot of people have had negative experiences with, drugs in their life, whether a family member has done it, etc., or one of their close friends has been harmed. So I can totally understand those, but unless we have a rational and logical debate on this, then we're not going to deal with the issues, the real issues. So yeah, that's my point, that I believe it should be legalised, because I actually believe it will make things better. And actually, like I said, if we focus more on rehabilitation, focus more, rather than stigmatising people that smoke weed, actually help them cut down, help them stop, maybe like we'd help people stop smoking. But legalise it so we don't just go, you're doing drugs, illegal, chuck you in prison. That's that's a very reactionary rather than rational and logical. And it just comes on to the point also, I'd like to quickly say that I believe that this is going to sound very controversial as well, but actually quite sensible, that prostitution should be legalised. This isn't in the drugs debate at all, but I believe it should. Now, that sounds really bad, I know, but what's wrong with sex between two consenting adults? What is wrong with that? Prostitution is the oldest business in the world. And actually, if we had brothels that were regulated, legal businesses, if you say, over 18, customers have to use protection, etc., and they have set rates of paying or whatever, they have, it's all properly regulated, they have proper businesses set up, more business tax for the government, more people spending more in the economy with it, and we can cut down obviously in child and teen trafficking. We can focus on making them illegal and actually legalise, because it's if we actually legalise it, then like I said, the tax revenue that will come in from these businesses would be great for the economy. And like I said, sex between two consenting adults is not a bad thing. It really isn't, and it shouldn't be called as that. So I know I've used this with this as well, but it's just a point I want to make about this, that these two issues really, obviously the drugs issue that I was talking about, and now I'm talking about the prostitution issue. They, unless we, like I said, have a rational and logical debates about it, then we're never going to get anywhere of dealing with these issues. So I am open to any debate. And like I said, I realise this video is quite controversial, and I apologise if I've offended anyone with this, but I believe someone has to say it. The Lib Dems have come out and said it, and I commend them for that. They'll probably lose a lot of respect, because like I said, of the views of people about it. So yeah, like I said, open to debate. People want to comment with me, talk to me about it, and even have a go at me about it, that's fine. But I want a logical debate on this, and I believe we should, as a country, do that. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope, and sorry, I will post my next video soon. Okay, bye.